Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi! Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
And now, why don't we bring in one of our great hosts from the Hispanic community, Fernando Mateo, and talk about the Hispanic community in the whole country and New York and what the heck is going on? And how are they feeling? And give us the pulse of the situation. Fernando, come on in.
Good morning, John. Good morning, Jake. It's a pleasure and an honor to be with you guys. And I just want to start by telling you the following. Hispanics leave and left their countries, not because they wanted to, not because we don't miss being back home, but because there were no opportunities or very few opportunities to succeed. The limitations, the socialism programs, the high taxes, the government controlling everything is why people left their countries. They come to America in flocks, seeking opportunity, seeking, freedom, seeking the American dream that they hear about, because all they do is hear about the American dream, and those that left come back wealthy. Those that left the country come back to their country and build businesses and build houses and create what they were never able to create in the Dominican Republic or in El Salvador and in Honduras and in Colombia and in all these countries. Hispanics are like a special breed of people. They're hungry. They want to earn. They want to become someone. They want to go back home and show them what America did for them. They didn't come here for handouts. They didn't come here to be poor. They didn't come here for socialism. They came for capitalism. They understand that nothing is for free. But it's like the same old game, the same old Ponzi scheme. Ponzi schemes pop up every day of the year, all over the world, in different places. Why? Because people have a dream being able to become rich overnight. They put their money into a scheme that pays them initially. And then when the money runs out, they cut it and they leave you hanging. Opening up supermarkets where people are going to be getting certain items, because it's only certain items. I think it's a total of 100 items that the mayor wants for people that don't earn over a certain amount of money to be able to buy cheaper. So what do? You create a socialist program. You create something that we ran away from. You create something that's going to harm us, that's going to make us look and feel like beggars. We don't want that. When you can actually sit down with business people and create that same program, but multiplied by 1,000, by 2,000, so that it really becomes effective.
So,
this isn't about you. It's about the people, Mayor Mondami. It's not about you.
Okay, it's
about the people.
So, Mr. Mateo, it's Dominic Carter. Good morning on this Memorial Day. So, I've been thinking about that. So let's focus on this. Never mind the fact that this didn't work with the supermarkets, I believe, in Kansas City. But let's focus on East Harlem. It's almost offensive in La Marqueta to open these stores when you already have establishing stores, bodegas, supermarkets. What's going to happen to those stores around the area while this one is opening?
Well, let me tell you, it's more about the insulting the people of La Marqueta, of El Barrio. It's more about telling them how blatant the lie is. Because the mayor isn't speaking about the people of La Marqueta. He's telling everyone in Manhattan, hey, Manhattan, we're opening up a supermarket for you to come and buy items cheaper. There are over 2-3 million people in Manhattan. How the hell is one supermarket going to make a difference? But aside from that, look at the supermarkets in the area. There are a few. These people have put their blood, sweat, and tears into building their supermarkets. Now the government is going to build a $30 million supermarket when you can actually build about 15 or 20 supermarkets with that amount of money.
Wow.
Right? And he's going to place them in a place where there are other businesses. Guys, listen, it only makes sense to take $100 million a year that the mayor is claiming he's going to tax the rich in order to make that money. Okay, he's going to take it from other programs. Okay, and he's going to take $100 million a year and he's going to put them into 5 stores to serve 8 million people. How stupid could New Yorkers be? How dumb does he think we are? You know, we are not dumb people. We may be poor. We may need affordable items, but we're not dumb. Okay? Take that $100 million, go to 500 supermarkets in New York City, and tell them we're going to give you $100,000 at a time so that you can create affordable items that we will monitor and put them in your stores and make sure people can buy them at a discount. Now you're allowing 8 million people to do that, not 2,000, not 1,000 people, because people that shop in supermarkets usually walk within the square block. Okay, how many people are you really going to affect? You're going to affect, a drop. It's going to be like taking 5 drops when you have a thunderstorm. Right? And putting them in a bucket and saying, hey, I have water for everybody now. Fernando. But you don't have water for everybody. Fernando. You have 5 drops in the bucket, and that's not going to help anybody, Dominic. It's an insult not only to the business community and to these men and women that have built their business and keep the city alive.
Let's move on. We've done that shtick. Half your time you live down in Florida. Give us a report from the Hispanic population in Florida. Where tell us the pulse of the situation.
Everybody loves Florida. People that live in Florida, immigrants that go to Florida will never come up to New York. If they've never been here, they don't want to come up to New York. And immigrants from New York that have fled to Florida, like myself, dread wanting to come back to New York. Okay? This is a city that I love. It's a city that I grew up in. But guess what? Florida is so much better. There's very little crime.
So wait a minute. Wait. Fernando Mateo dreads coming back to New York? I thought you're Mr. New York.
No. Listen, I was Mr. New York until I saw all these radical changes. I see that I can save probably $1 million a year by living outside of New York City. So why live here? When everything that's happening in New York City right now, it's about hurting me. It's not about helping me. It's about hurting me. It's about hurting my business. It's about hurting the entrepreneurs that come here to build something. You go to Florida, man, and it's paradise. It's like living in the Caribbean island, living like in Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, a southern sunshine country with all of the very little downs. The cost of people make money.
The downs, you got the downs, or you got the alligators, and the alligator bit the worker at the Central Park Zoo Sunday. I mean, at the Bronx Zoo Sunday. So you got alligators. That's one down.
My friend, listen. You're more liable to get, you'll be robbed 20 times in Central Park before you see an alligator in Florida, okay? At least there are signs warning you, don't walk in here because there are alligators. You walk into Central Park, they don't say, be careful, you may not come out, right? So listen, Florida...
How is Congresswoman Salazar doing down there? Is she okay?
She's amazing. No, she is not okay, John. Okay is when you're struggling. She's doing amazing. She's doing very well. Why? Because she supports capitalism. And when you support capitalism, You support the hardworking immigrants that come here to work. Okay? You know, you go to Florida, you have just about every community like you do in New York. You know, you have the Jews, you have the Italians, you have the Haitians, you have the Dominicans, you have the Puerto Ricans, you have the Cubans, you name it.
And give us a report.
Indians.
I'll text him later, see if he wants to come on this morning. The guy that's running as for governor in Florida. You have a
Byron Donalds.
Byron Donald?
Yeah, I think it's Byron Donalds. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a black man that sees opportunity, not only for the state, but he sees opportunity for the people that have moved.
And was he endorsed? Was he endorsed by President Trump?
I don't know if he's been endorsed by President Trump or not, but he's endorsed by the people. The people like him. The people love him.
Yes.
And the people want him.
He does have President Trump support.
Jake, the Jake in the news department just checked it.
Jake knows everything, guys. That's why I have him on my show all the time. You know, he fills in the blanks, which is great. Jake, one day you and I will have our own show on WABC. Don't worry about it. I'm working on it, pal.
That's the entrepreneur in you. You know, Fernando, 10 years ago, I think it was, I was at Fox and CNBC, and they laughed at me when I said, listen, the Latino vote is not going to be like some of the other groups. They're not going to fall all one way or the other. It's not going to be big Democrat or big Republican. They're going to be much more of a swing vote, which, by the way, in America, you want to be the swing vote. That's the good thing. That's the good place to be. And when they laughed at me about it, I said, no, you can't laugh at me about this because, as you just described, Latinos in this country are very entrepreneurial. Small business is what they're all about. And small business people predominantly vote Republican. So, you know, I just think that people are getting the wrong idea here.
Well, Jake, let me tell you, we are the swing vote, but we are the most disrespected community in politics, okay? Because we give it up too quickly.
Wait a minute. Mr. Mateo, I want you to finish that. But are you sure about that? Are you sure it's not the black community that is the most disrespected community?
By the Democrats.
No, not at all. Listen, Zoran Mandami, our mayor, which, by the way, I have nothing against him, and I think I'll like him if I ever meet him. You know, Zoran Mandami has not gone to the Dominican community. He has not gone to the Latino community. He only shows up there when he's going to offer them something for free because he sees us as the people that have come here to look for freebies. He goes to the Bronx, all Hispanics, to open a supermarket. He goes to El Barrio, okay, all Hispanics to open a supermarket. You know, why is he targeting us? Why is he targeting the Hispanic community? Because he thinks we're beggars? We're not beggars. We are people that respect ourselves. Of course, we want affordable items, but hey, work with the businesses that have been there to help us get there. So the blacks have a huge leg over the Hispanic community. I'm sorry to tell you that, Dominic.
Well, in what way? Please tell me in what way. In what way?
They understand politics in the United States a lot better. They are starting to understand that the Democratic Party has only hurt them. Okay? They speak English fluently. They understand the system a lot better than Hispanic immigrants that have just gotten here. Okay? Hispanic immigrants are surrounded by Congress people, assembly people, senators, council members that are all Democrats. So all they hear is Democrat, 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 Democrat. Black people, on the other hand, have smartened up. They realize that Democrats have kept them in poverty these years.
You got a point there.
Centuries.
You got a point there.
So, no. I know my history and I know my situation here because I come from the hood. I grew up with blacks and Puerto Ricans in the 60s. Okay?
I grew up in those same streets, Fernando.
Yeah, and I'll say something, Fernando, and I'll say this with Dominic sitting right in front of me, and he can push back. I think that this elimination of race as a criteria to make districts for Congress is the most potentially economic liberating thing for blacks in America who have been living in a feudal system. I know I'm not going to make plantation slavery comparisons. It's much more comparable to feudalism. but 90% of black people live in these gerrymandered racial districts where their economic vitality has been sapped from them, mostly by Democrats. This liberation is, I think, tantamount to either the 64 Civil Rights Act and maybe, and God strike me down if I'm wrong, even the Emancipation Proclamation, because they have been living in a feudal system led by leaders who don't care about their economic prosperity.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but what is there to push back on? These districts and race, and I think that's the message, because Fernando Mateo just schooled me, gentlemen. I never looked at the fact, I never saw it until I just listened to Fernando Mateo about how patronizing it is to put that supermarket, that market in La Marqueta in East Harlem. And up until you make that comment, Fernando Mateo, I didn't even look at it that way.
You know what? He's ignored the Hispanic community. He knows that he's done nothing for the Hispanic community, probably will never. But he wants the Hispanic community to owe him. He wants the Hispanic community to believe that he is giving them something for nothing. And that's what pisses me off. That's why I get so energized and so upset, because I don't want my people, my community, my Latinos that have come here to become someone to fall into this freaking, free for all. We're going to give you for free.
We got to take a break, but Fernando, thank you for everything you do, and thank you for being a host on WABC and getting the truth out, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
Host of No Excuses here on WABC
host
at
of
6
No
p.m.
Excuses.
6 p.m. on
and
Sundays.
And by the way, Roger Stone is going to
up.
call in at 8:35 today, and stay tuned, and let's take that break.